Reciprocity in Diplomatic Relations and Geopolitics by AZLAN ADNAN, Wednesday, 6th of August, 2025. Introduction. Reciprocity is one of the oldest principles in diplomacy and international relations. Rooted in both customary practice and codified international law, it refers to the mutual exchange of privileges, concessions, or obligations between states. In diplomacy, this can manifest through the exchange of ambassadors, consular services, visa regimes, or adherence to bilateral agreements. In geopolitics, it can influence everything from trade deals to military alliances, sanctions, and strategic retaliations. The principle of reciprocity is fundamental in maintaining a balanced international order, reinforcing state sovereignty, and ensuring that no state exploits another without consequences. However, its application is far from uniform and often reflects the asymmetries of power, strategic interests, and ideological alignments. Historical roots and legal foundations. The concept of reciprocity is as ancient as diplomacy itself, dating back to the Amarna letters of 14th century BC Egypt and Mesopotamia, where rulers exchanged emissaries and gifts based on mutual respect and shared interests. In modern international law, reciprocity underpins major frameworks such as the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, 1961, and the World Trade Organization, WTO, agreements, where mutual obligations are often enforced through reciprocal benefits or sanctions. Reciprocity functions on both positive and negative spectrums. Positive reciprocity encourages cooperation, e.g., one country lowers tariffs and expects the same in return. Negative reciprocity involves punishment or retaliation, e.g., expelling diplomats in response to similar actions. Reciprocity in bilateral diplomacy. In diplomatic practice, reciprocity helps preserve parity and dignity between sovereign states. Key examples include embassy equivalence. States usually maintain embassies of equivalent status and size in each other's capitals. If one country reduces its diplomatic staff, the other often reciprocates. Visa and consular policies. Visa requirements often reflect reciprocal treatment. For example, the European Union applies reciprocal visa waivers based on whether partner countries provide the same. Treatment of diplomats. The principle ensures diplomats enjoy equal immunity and privileges under the Vienna Convention. When reciprocity is violated, it can lead to a downgrading of relations, mutual expulsions, or even a suspension of diplomatic ties. Reciprocity in geopolitical strategy. Reciprocity extends beyond diplomacy into the domain of strategic geopolitics, where it becomes a powerful tool of influence and coercion. Major powers frequently employ reciprocal responses in trade disputes. The U.S.-China trade war is a clear example where tariffs were met with retaliatory tariffs. Sanctions. Russia and Western countries have engaged in reciprocal sanctions over issues like Crimea, Syria, and the war in Ukraine. Military alliances. NATO operates on the principle of collective defense, Article 5, a form of multilateral reciprocity. If one member is attacked, all respond. However, power asymmetries can distort reciprocity. A superpower may impose harsh measures expecting limited response from weaker states, yet even weaker states can exploit soft power, asymmetrical diplomacy, or non-aligned coalitions to recalibrate relations. Case studies. 1. United States-Russia diplomatic expulsions. Since 2016, U.S.-Russia relations have witnessed repeated rounds of reciprocal diplomat expulsions. While intended to signal firmness, this tit-for-tat approach has also led to stagnated diplomatic communication and reduced crisis de-escalation channels. 2. India-Pakistan consular parity. The Vienna Convention is tested frequently in the subcontinent, where reciprocal denial of access to detained nationals, restrictions on movement, and reduced staff often mirror each other's actions in times of political tension. 3. China-Australia trade retaliation. Australia's call for an investigation into the origins of COVID-19 led to Chinese trade restrictions on key Australian exports. Australia responded by restricting Chinese investments and telecommunications access, exemplifying how reciprocity is deployed asymmetrically across different sectors. Challenges and criticisms. While reciprocity promotes balance and fairness, its rigid application can backfire. Escalation risks. Reciprocal actions may escalate tensions, leading to a spiral of retaliation. Lack of flexibility. Diplomacy requires discretion and nuance. Excessive dependence on reciprocity can stifle innovation and negotiation. Moral ambiguity. States may use reciprocity to justify morally questionable actions, e.g., retaliating with sanctions that harm civilian populations. Additionally, non-state actors, like multinational corporations or insurgent groups, and multilateral frameworks often defy traditional reciprocity models, complicating their applicability in contemporary global affairs. Contemporary trends. Today's multipolar world demands a more sophisticated model of reciprocity, integrating strategic patience, recognizing when not to reciprocate immediately or symmetrically. Multilateral reciprocity, practiced in institutions like the UN, where benefits and responsibilities are shared across many states. Reciprocity through norms, promoting shared global values like climate cooperation or pandemic response, where mutual benefit replaces tit-for-tat logic. In the digital age, cyber diplomacy and tech-related retaliations, e.g. Huawei bans or TikTok restrictions, are expanding the domain of reciprocity to data sovereignty and information warfare. Conclusion. Reciprocity remains a cornerstone of diplomacy and geopolitics, embodying both justice and realpolitik. It reinforces sovereign equality, deters unilateralism, and sustains the fabric of international relations. However, in an increasingly complex global environment, rigid reciprocity must give way to strategic pragmatism, where responses are guided by long-term vision rather than short-term symmetry. The future of global diplomacy lies in reciprocity, tempered by restraint, enabling states to assert their interests without tipping into needless escalation. A heartfelt light. To every soul whose hand did give, you've helped me dream, helped me live. In darkest hours your light came through, with hearts so kind, so pure, so true. Your gifts, like stars in deepest night, have steered me gently toward the light. Each coin, each word, each silent prayer, a thread of hope, so rich, so rare. My eyes once dimmed, now seek the skies, and slowly, clearer visions rise. Because of you, I dare to see the world again. Its grace, its plea. Your compassion's flame will not just stay with me alone. It lights the way for others wandering through despair to feel the warmth of selfless care. You've shown what love in action means, in quiet ways through giving scenes. You've built a bridge from soul to soul and made the broken feel more whole. So let this thanks rise like a song, a melody both soft and strong. May your example gently call more hearts to rise to give. To fall into the joy of lifting pain, of planting hope where none remains. Your kindness walks beside me still, a light, a love, a living will.
forget to hit that subscribe button to show your support.